Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I am spending my hard-earned money for you guys once again. Today, I picked up the Titan Strife in the current crates, the massive Lucky 8 containers which exist in Blitz. These are actually pretty good crates, to be entirely honest. It's 8,500 gold, a guaranteed tier 8 from the list, and you also get either a mystery box, collectible container, black box, mega container, or awesome container quest, which is pretty dang sweet, to be entirely honest, and it actually makes this not a terrible deal. Now, would I suggest you go out and give Wargaming all your money? Maybe not, but if you don't have any of the tanks from the list, I'm not going to say these are a flat-out scam. I actually think mega containers as well are decent for the value. But in this list, there is a new tank called the Titan Strife. We can see it as a 5% drop chance. It's the only Blitz Nation vehicle in the list. And yeah, I managed to pick it up on my second crate, so I'm not going to complain. It was still 22,500 gold for me to gamble on these crates, but yeah, picking this up on crate number 2 is an insanely good draw, and I guess Wargaming felt bad for how much money I ended up spending on the Waffenträger Alf E100. So, as always, I'll be getting these reviews out way before any other content creator, and if you enjoy this type of content and you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. With that being said, in today's video, I'll be going over the armor, capabilities, and live gameplay of the Titan Strife to let you know if this is a tank A, you should be scared of on the battlefield, and B, what you should know about this tank if you're gonna get your hands on it. So let's take a look at the gun to start off with. The vehicle features 2,159 damage per minute, which is pretty average, to be entirely honest. We can see vehicles like the ground tank also feature pretty similar levels of DPM, 1,800. In general, the lowest you're going to find on a tier 8 heavy is like ground tank levels of DPM, and the highest you're going to find is like 2,500. So it's kind of right in the middle in terms of damage per minute, which is okay. Its alpha damage is 340, which means you're actually going to out-reload most of the higher alpha heavies as it is. And that HE is really nice. 430 high explosive damage is fantastic, and it's going to be able to do a lot of damage to enemies, especially with 70 mils of HE pen. By the way, speaking of penetration, look at the gold pen. 328 millimeters of heat. That makes this by far the highest penetration tier 8 heavy in the game. That's almost tank destroyer levels of pen, and it means even if you're rolling up against tier 9s, you are not going to struggle to cut through them. That is crazy levels of penetration. I should also mention its aiming time and dispersion seem to be pretty good. We'll have to see how they actually feel in gameplay, but at least on paper it doesn't look too bad. It also has dynamic armor, just like the other Titan tanks, so your lower plate and upper plate can have additional armor that forms, which is pretty cool. Nothing I'm going to complain about there. If we make our way over to, actually, which is in, oh no, I guess it just says for the Titan HND when health drops, okay. I thought that made more sense. Mobility-wise, the tank goes 32 and reverses at 13. Not a very mobile tank, and even though its power to weight is okay, yeah, this is definitely not going to be a vehicle that's winning any speed contests anytime soon. However, there's a reason why it's not that mobile of a vehicle, and if we take a look at the armor, you can see that reason why. Now, the Strife only has 6 degrees of gun depression, which is a little disappointing. It definitely could have had like 7 or 8 degrees. We can clearly see there's room there, and it wouldn't have blocked really any part of the tank, but I guess Wargaming didn't want to give it more gun depression. But armor-wise, this thing is insane. First of all, the lower plate is super steep on the angling, as we can see. And because of that, it means if you are slightly taller than this tank, which you probably will be, the lower plate's going to be an auto ricochet. Meaning that the only spot you can reliably pen this tank with standard ammo is this little bar right on the mid plate. It is a weak spot. There's no way to hide it. It's 137 thick, but like, still, this tank has some very, very good armor. The upper plate is super, super strong. 240 mils base. That means even loading gold, you're not going to be able to cut through this upper plate reliably, even with Cali. Now, this could be wrong on Armor Inspector, but like, yeah, that's pretty impressive armor. The upper plate is a weak spot if you're not activating the special ability the tank has. You see, all Titan tanks have moving armor. And we can see right now that the upper plate does not have a plate of armor on it, but if you activate the dynamic armor system consumable, not only does 10% of the damage you receive get mitigated, but as well, as we can see, it makes the armor move up here and gives you more effective armor, making that upper plate nearly impossible to pen, which is pretty dang impressive. Turret armor is also very strong on this vehicle, I should mention. It's about 357 millimeters on the upper half, and as well, even the further back parts are still about 300 millimeters. Like, this is not a weak tank. Now, the lower half of the turret is about 250, so most tier 8s are going to have to load gold to pen your turret, and that's still a 50-50. And tier 7s, good luck. I mean, this thing has really good armor. Using gun depression and being able to hide this lower plate, you know, doing something like this, that's all you got to do, and that's what your Strife's going to look like. This thing has insane levels of armor. The biggest weak spot is actually the little corner cutouts here, which are about 170 mils thick, but that's a very tricky shot to shoot, and definitely going to be one that I think people are going to struggle with. In general, this thing seems kind of like a beast. Now, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to play until we get into some gameplay here, so let's find out and see what the Titan Strife can do. I'm really excited, actually, especially because I did get it so luckily in my first couple crates. I don't even think press accounts have this vehicle yet. Yeah, Wargaming's been kind of lackluster with their press accounts over the past maybe a week or so. We were supposed to have the BZ176 and MBTB on the press accounts, and they just never put them on. Hence why I had my reviews on both of those tanks on my main account day one and not the press account, because at the end of the day, unlike other content creators, I'm willing to spend my money on this game so you guys can get reviews day one. And that is the same thing for the Titan Strife. The only vehicle that I really don't have on my account that I really want at high tier is the AE Phase 1. It is an incredibly rare vehicle and basically impossible to get your hands on. But let's get into some gameplay and see what the Titan can do. Oh, there you go. We're into a battle. Up against us, we have a TSL 7 Defender, which you'll notice looks very similar in the silhouette to the Strife. I thought the enemy team had one for a second, but no, they do not. All right, well, here we are. The tank looks sick, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually a big fan of the vehicle's overall appearance. I think it looks really, really cool, and I'm excited to see how it does. Let me set my display capture to Blitz. There you go. And yeah, mobility-wise, it's not fast, but I think we can all agree it's a little understandable if the mobility's not very good. The level of armor this vehicle has is quite impressive. It's way better than most tanks in Tier 8. In fact, I'd be willing to say this might be the most heavily armored Tier 8 in the game. And yeah, the gun, that is not a very accurate gun, at least on move. We'll have to see how the aiming time feels, but yeah, definitely on move. Not a very accurate gun, I think we can all agree there, especially for only 340 damage per shot. Alright, well, we're making the crossing now. I do have my team supporting me, which is very nice. Unfortunately, our ISU 152 is stock, so that's not really going to help me. Not a bad shot into the enemy 047. We can see where that 340 damage per shot actually feels really solid. I mean, that's a good chunker there. We have the AMX AC. I'm sorry. Do you have armor? Well, I guess it doesn't matter if you have armor because I missed my shot. Yeah, 0.31 dispersion is not bad, to be fair, but also nothing incredible. We're going to aim it on that AMX. There you go. Nice shot. We got a bounce there as well. The armor on this tank is just going to be insane. I really think it is. Like, this 047, bro doesn't even know what to do. He's just bouncing us every shot. We are already up to a pretty good amount of damage this game. We have the T49 up top, and boom, 350. Yeah, I gotta be honest, I actually am liking this gun a lot. It's not very accurate, but it doesn't really need to be. I mean, again, with the level of armor this thing's carrying around, you're going to be able to just get some crazy, crazy good bounces in this tank. Now, we have the T49 on my flank, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim it on the AMX, get the pen into you, and then the T49 on my side is definitely a threat, but not what I'm too worried about. We're just going to poke the Ag Panther, aiming. There you go. Get another bounce. Our team is still slowly capping the base. T49 is going to run away. Now, with the 430 damage high explosive potential this vehicle has, I'm going to miss the shot. That was just a bad shot for me. I should have led that a little bit better. I didn't. That is on me. I would assume that at this point, our team, is going to have the base capture reset. Let's aim it on the Ag Panther, and boom, 350 damage clear into you. We've blocked 1100. We've not gotten penned once. This thing's armor is way, way better than you would think it would be. But, I mean, looking on paper, I saw the armor look strong, and it definitely is. We have the SU-122 in the back, aiming, boom! 358 damage shell into the SU. Our 252 misses a shot by a mile, which is not very surprising. We aim it on the rear of the T-49. I'll not be missing you with my high explosive this time. And let's just use our reactive armor thing. You can see that it brings up our armor a bit more. Nothing's penning me, bro. This is insane. Alright, let's see. I'm going to hide my lower plate in the water. I wonder... Oh, does the tiger actually pen my lower plate? Oh, it pens the mid plate. I see. Okay, well, that's understandable. I mean, the mid plate is the weak spot after all. Oh, does it have a little shell animation? Does it? I saw something pop out there. Oh, no, that was just my moving armor. I see, I see. That was just my armor that moves. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Well, the tiger's backing up, and he's backing up right into my line of fire. That's a pretty bad player. But there you go. That was a pretty easy win for our first game, and it really shows where this thing's armor is, like, insane. People that were just aiming and shooting just bounced, like, a lot as well. We did 3,700 damage in my first game, destroyed 3 enemy tanks, and blocked 1,880 damage, giving myself a pretty solid victory with over 140,000 credits earned. This tank is way, way stronger than I think most people would look at it on paper, but the level of heat pen, the DPM being solid, and the fact that it has some of the best armor in Tier 8 might make this one of the strongest super heavies now available in the game. You know, something I really quickly want to check, how much does this vehicle weigh? It's got to weigh a lot, right? 63 tons. Honestly, not that much weight for a vehicle that has so much armor. Pretty dang impressive what you're working with here when you actually consider everything. So, yeah, I have to say, I think this might be one of my more favorite Tier 8s in the game now. I'm a big fan of heavily armored vehicles. The problem is, right now in the current meta, heavy armored vehicles don't really seem to be too great because a lot of the mediums and the faster tanks seem to do a better job. But this tank might just set a new example of like what armor is, because this thing's got like Type 71 levels of armor on a Tier 8. It's pretty dang impressive. Alright, good. My team pings the right way. Now, again, we can see the mobility on it. Not very good. The traverse speed is absolutely atrocious. Like, you are definitely paying for that armor. You are going to be very slow. You are not going to get into the positions first. But, I mean, you're not tortoise levels of speed. 32-ish, 33 kilometers per hour. It's not like the worst thing ever. It's more the power to weight that I think is absolutely tragic on this tank. Especially like uphill, we can see we are not going very quick. 24, 20, 17, 16, yeah. This is not going to be a fast vehicle. Now we have an enemy T-71 and a Bosch Ation Brask on the wide here, and I'm going to try and push this flank wide as well. While I may not be the quickest, I definitely am going to be the best at making this play. And I'm honestly just tempted to see if we can make this play or not. However, maybe not. Our team is sending this full speed, so... Oh, no, never mind. The Gravedigger just got absolutely obliterated, and the Scorpion also just lost quite a bit of health, so maybe not the best play there. I'm just slowly moving up. We're getting there. The enemy Death Star is dead. And we have just finally made it over here. We got the E-10 in the back. We have the IS-2 shielded, which, aiming, boom, there you go, 320 damage shell into you. We have the enemy Titan Strife, and this is going to be a good example to see the enemy Titan Strife's armor. I'm actually really interested to see how it looks, so let's put on our... Okay, interesting. So, we can see that the tank definitely has a weak spot on the upper plate, but, like, that is some very impressive armor. When you consider everything, that is really, really impressive. Yes, the lower plate is a weak spot, but the upper plate, that thing is so strong. And I think if you're hiding it properly, you are definitely going to be put in a situation where that armor is going... Okay. Well, again, the gun, not the most accurate. I'm also not sure why Wrench Jeff? I know Wrench, he's a chill guy, but I'm not sure why he's going out of his way to tunnel me when he has like a Pantera right on his side. Especially after I missed the shot. But, oh well, I can't get too mad. We're fine either way. Maybe he just wanted to get a good look at the vehicle's armor profile. Let's aim in on that E10. Again, the level of gold pen this thing has means that you're literally never, ever, ever going to struggle to cut through your enemies. It's kinda wild. So, we have the T-71 over here, and let's see, can I get a shell into the T-71? Boom! Well, not the highest of damaging shots, only 140, but we're gonna win, and... I'm glad I was able to go up against the enemy Strife because I had a good idea of how the armor actually works. Sometimes it's hard to tell if the armor is correct on like Blitz Kit or something like that, especially with these vehicles that do have dynamic armor. But yeah, no, that armor seemed pretty spot on. This thing has incredible levels of armor. Unfortunately, my shell did not go where I wanted it to. As we can see, the gun, it's not great. I mean, you shouldn't expect this gun to be anything spectacular. Its dispersion is okay with refined, but the aiming time and the on-movement dispersion are very poor. This is a frontline vehicle. But it's not a bad gun either. I mean, I haven't noticed anything particularly terrible about the gun. We did 1800 damage in this game, which is decent for an absolute steamroll where our team sent the enemy in like 5 seconds. I can't complain at all there. We still did third on the team, and how many credits did we earn? I'm a little interested. We earned 30,000, so definitely not the best in terms of credits, but pretty average to be entirely honest. Let's try one more game in the Strife and see how it does. Okay, well, we are on False Creek up against the same Titan. Alright, let's see what we can do here. It's such a weird looking exhaust port on the back. It's got that single exhaust. Alright, well, let's move on up. And we'll see what we can do. Now, this is probably one of the better maps for a vehicle like this, mainly because of the fact the armor is going to be most effective in a position like this. Now, the only thing I should keep in mind is that our lower plate is going to be angled slightly upward on this position, meaning that it might not be a, might not be a weak, or might be a weak spot. So we will have to keep that in mind. It's going to ping for my team where to look. We do have some teammates. Okay, I'm going to sit still so my camo net hopefully activates. I don't know what this vehicle's camo is like, but I can't imagine it's incredibly strong. Okay, well, the enemy E10, we got the Lycan, and not much else, really. Not much else going on here. It's hard to tell if there's going to be a tank in that bush or not, and half the time, oh, interesting. I don't think they do have a tank in that bush. Okay, well, I'm not sure why you would play your Titan Strife over there, to be honest. It's such a slow vehicle that you're giving me time to now push up on your teammates over here and ideally get some clears. But we'll see. We have the Lycan off to the side, and I'm going to aim it on that Lycan. Really? That's a little cringe, not going to lie. I mean, we did track him and whatever, but, like, that shell should have been. Got to be entirely honest. Alright, so let's see what's going on here. We have the Lycan. The accuracy of this vehicle definitely not working right now, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. We can cut right through this E10 turret, no issues, and that's obviously pretty solid. The thing that I really want to do is I want to move up and just clear the enemy team if I can. Oh, what was that, bro? That was cringe. Alright, well, our team's not doing great on the other flank of the map. The problem is this game is taking a lot longer than it should be on this side. Our team needs to push up, and I'm the only one making an aggressive play, which is not ideal, obviously. We need our team, our whole team, to be making this play, and then we can possibly get out some victories. But this game is probably going to be a loss. Our Lycan does shoot, though, and the E10 is going to back off. We're going to aim it on the E10. There you go. Easy clear. The AMX still hasn't moved up for some reason, which is completely fine with me. If that AMX wants to sit there and waste his time, that is completely fine. I'm going to activate my... 413, even with my ability on. That's a pretty nasty roll, but that's alright. There's a reason why I have my ability, which does reduce the damage I receive, and I activated it to do that. Let's hope that I get a slight high roll. I do, but not a high enough roll, unfortunately. However, my Tiger does finally move up and help me here. So we have the AMX AC. Wow, bro just got obliterated by a 700 damage high explosive. That's kind of wild. And we still have almost all of our health, and our team is fairly healthy as well, so this is not a terrible situation we are in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly cross this. There you go. Oh, that's not what I want. Okay, I may have put myself in a rather awkward spot here. Yeah, that's not good. We do have the SU, who does get a nice shell into the enemy Progetto, but it's just so unfortunate that the enemy Progetto happened to be right there the moment I made that play. Titan does get a pen into me. We do have our adrenaline cooking, and yeah, you might be a little cookered yourself. Not sure why. The enemy team just boxed themselves in, and that actually worked out really, really well for me. Like, at the end of the day, this is basically a super heavy. The whole point of this vehicle is to take shots for your team, and that's what I did. I put myself in an aggressive position, I let the enemy shoot me, and I let our teammates flank around. And that's what you should be doing in this vehicle. I mean, to be quite honest, I think this is a great tank. I'm very surprised with how good it is, but I think it's a beast. I really do. I think the armor is quite the strength, and not only that, but the mobility doesn't feel that bad because you have the armor to make up for the mobility, right? Sometimes Wargaming makes a tank like the Quetzal, which has like the worst frickin' mobility, and it has no armor. And that sucks. But when Wargaming actually puts a little bit of effort into balancing a vehicle, and they say we're going to give it a really, really solid gun in terms of DPM and pen, but we're going to make it quite inaccurate. We're going to give it really, really good armor, but we're going to make it super slow. It balances itself out. And it creates actually a rather fun experience. 2,800 damage this game, 54,000 credits earned. Definitely not the best credit earner, but in general, a very, very fun vehicle, and one that I think is rather, actually, like, cool. This is a really awesome Super Heavy. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think about it, but yeah, this is probably one of my more favorite Tier 8s now. It's kind of a beast. It's got the dynamic armor, which allows you to reduce some of the damage you're receiving. Not a huge amount. I mean, 10% is barely anything, but it is still a little bit of extra armor on your tank, and it also gives you a little bit more survivability. We can actually see the armor in action if we go into a quick training room here. I'll show you guys exactly what the consumable does, but essentially it makes the upper plate have an additional piece. It makes the side armor have some spaced armor as well. I'm not sure why it's not just like the stock, but you can see here the armor kind of goes all around the vehicle, which is really, really cool, and something that I find absolutely sick. So, hopefully all of you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!